Yeah. I'm here to talk with Slavish Zizek and Saroj Giri, who are at another room and in another panel, and I don't relate. I'm not with them, yes, and that's the situation. I would like to talk about Wittgenstein from my side, okay, and I think that they'll develop other arguments around it. I think they're going to talk about Hegel at another level. So the arrangement of levels here are the arrangement of keys. I think I should interpret it as something like uh, different keys of the same music. So I talk about Wittgenstein, yes. Uh, so what is this situation like? That would be a description of the fact of my existence, or the fact of existence in this room. And so it means that I am in this room, that is a fact. It is the existence of a state of affairs that I sit, I write, I read, I talk to people on the phone, perhaps. And that would be the existence of a state of affairs that I am in. And so what it means is finally that in Wittgenstein, one usually reads the situation one is in to begin with. Then one argues what are other facts around this. A fact exists when I can tell you there is a configuration of the working class in the outskirts of Delhi, and what they call Gurgaon, yes. So there, I would say, is configuration of the working class, and as a trajectory, the militant often visits such places. And as the existence of a state of affairs, I can tell you there is Marxist politics taking place in the distance of the working class industrial belts. And that's a fact. As a picture, there are people I know, militants in fact, who have names, and they order something like a picture of, I could say, Marxist photography along the lines of not Christopher Doyle, but Cartier de Bresson is also important. I would say another photographer like I would say myself, Showatsurvi, yes. My photography stages Marxism in a scene, and I think that's what's going on there. A picture, a photograph of Marxism. And then there are situations that exist in this trajectory of class struggle and art. The mathematics of language proceeds by stating that finally I'm in my room and I hear the news, and I sit and I contemplate and I read and write along the lines of the news from the working class belts. And the picture I want to paint here finally is that what cannot be said must be shown. And that's why I'm on this video. I'm on this video because I'm trying to show you how I live, or what it means to live. And then, of course, there are trajectories. There's also the configuration of finding friends like Saroj Giri and Stauzek, who are also teachers and lecturers. And that is finding the simplicity of an encounter. When we sit and talk in his office, it is always like an encounter. In fact, encounters and conversations are rare. Usually life is diplomacy, as Enzo Paci says. And that's because conversations are diplomacy, because one doesn't usually engage with questions or arguments or interpretation, that kind of thing. Yes. Yes. So finally, what is philosophy? Well, philosophy is often a situation. But in Wittgenstein, I would say philosophy is the expression of metaphors or poetry inside the situation of mathematics, and finally a proposition. So, as a thesis, I would say I'm going out for a cigarette, I'm going to smoke, you should not, is a judgment, and I should is also a judgment, because finally it's defined. Smoking is a defined act. It defines only people who are Marxist or engaging in something that compares to the point, that is to not to shoot but to clarify the shot. As Badiou put it, the point is not to shoot but to clarify the shot. So that's what I'm about to do, and I think I'll take you in that direction if I can. Yeah. Yeah. Find balance. Okay. I don't know at which angle it should. Okay. Yeah. 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 I think that's a judgment. That photography is coming over. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So they're saying it was defined. It's defined what the nature of the act is defined. I'd also like to state that finally it has something to do with the nature of Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein has something to do with exactitude. He wants you to shoot the facts. He wants you to develop an adequate representation of states of affairs, the existence and non-existence of state of affairs. I would say this is an image, it is poetry, and now I leave it to Zizek and Giri to explain exactly how, in Hegel, Wittgenstein intervenes as a sentence or a sign system, which is basically a series of images with the density of a simple moment, the density of a simple moment, which is finally a dense act. I'd like them to find it. So, here it is.